So in this class, I think we'll start looking at the Ramsar Convention. Okay. So what did we see in the previous classes? Can you just tell me? Sites and CMS. In the previous class, we were looking at sites and CMS. So what is sites? Convention on Conservation of Trade in Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna. So that is very important. So whenever we are talking about conventions, we should be very clear what are the terms that is being used. We are talking about trade in endangered species of flora and fauna, both flora and fauna. We also spoke about conservation, CMS, right? Conservation of migratory species. Migratory species means it can only be wildlife, that is fauna only. It cannot be flora because flora cannot migrate. Okay. So fauna, what kind of fauna migrates? Is it only birds? No, it can be mammals, it can be amphibians. Like example, turtles. Turtles are amphibians, right? Turtles, olive ridley turtles. We were just talking about olive ridley turtles in the previous class. So turtles also can migrate. And sharks, a lot of sharks migrate, whales migrate, right? So it is both oceanic and terrestrial and avian, that is aerial. Okay, all of them can come under CMS. Right. Now, yesterday we stopped because Ramsar is a very big topic and we'll need a lot more time. We are going to talk about Ramsar Convention today. Right. So, Ramsar Convention is an international treaty that looks at the conservation of wetlands. Okay. So, whenever I say Ramsar, your mind has to go to one thing. What is it? Wetland. Ramsar means wetland. Why is it named the Ramsar Convention? Correct. We discussed this yesterday. Ramsar is a place in Iran. Okay. So in 1971, okay, this came into picture. Okay, this treaty came into the picture in 1971. It's an international treaty. So the last three classes we have been discussing what is an international treaty. What is an international treaty? International treaty is a legal framework. Okay, an international treaty is a legal framework, right? So even the Ramsar Convention is a international treaty. Okay, is a international treaty. That means it's a legal framework that can be used to protect wetlands. Okay, and India became a party to the Ramsar Convention in 1982. Okay. In 1982, again it's a voluntary subscription to it. Why would somebody subscribe to Ramsar Convention? I will come to that in some time. Okay, right. So whenever I already told you this from the very first class, whenever international institutions are involved, what do we say? There is some sustainable element in it. Always, whenever conservation comes, there is some element of sustainability. Sustainable use has to always be there, right? The same thing is true for Ramsar Convention on wetlands also. Wetlands have to be used sustainably. This is one of the most important parts. So sustainability and conservation. And again, whenever we talk about sustainability, we are going to talk about wise use of resources so that the resources don't deplete so quickly that they don't bounce back. Okay, that is most important. Use the resources, absolutely okay, but use it in a sustainable fashion so that you leave something for the next generation, right? So these are the terms that we have to understand. Next, so we said the Ramsar Treaty has to do with something to do with wetlands. Now we have to start understanding what is a wetland, because these are all technical terms, correct? Whenever we are talking about treaties, frameworks, international agreements, we have to know exactly what it means. And we are talking about a wetland. So what is a wetland? A land that is wet. Okay. Literally. So engineers write these kind of answers generally. What is a wetland? They say land is wet, wetland. Okay. Which is also true. Okay. But let's say the actual technical definition is, you can look at it in two parts. Okay. One where water covers the soil. So water is on top of the soil, it is stagnant or flowing. Remember this, Ramsar wetland, when you talk about wetlands, it also includes places where the water might also be flowing a little. It does not mean water has to be stagnant. Understood? Most people think, oh, lake is a wetland. Backwaters where water is stagnant, that is a wetland. But even places where water is flowing slightly can be considered as wetland. No problem. Understood? So that is why we look at the technical definition, where water is above the soil, number one. Second, we also look at areas where water is present either at or near the surface of the soil. The water, the land, you don't even have to see water on top of the soil surface to consider it a wetland. If the water is just below the surface, you can consider those areas also as wetlands. In the prelims they will ask, what is a wetland? And they will give you examples. Areas where water is stagnant above the soil. Areas where water is found at 10 centimeters below the soil throughout the year. So they'll ask these kind of questions. You should know the technical definition, okay? And this is also very important. It can be all year or for some period of time. That is also okay, right? So this is a wetland. Wetlands are places where the water may be above the soil or just below the soil, or the soil is always wet. It can be throughout the year or for a small period of time for the year. This is the definition of a wetland, okay? So when we are talking about Ramsar Convention on Wetlands, we have understood the three terms, right? Ramsar is a site in Iran. Convention means an international treaty, which is actually a legal framework, and wetland means, okay? Next, any doubts still here? Any doubts? No doubts. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we know wetlands are there and we have told wetlands need to be saved. The convention, the Ramsar Convention literally is a convention which says protect the wetlands, save the wetlands, correct? Why should wetlands be saved? That is a question we must ask, correct? So in the previous classes I have been talking that wetlands like tropical rainforests are beautiful biomes, right? It's a beautiful biome. It's a very rich biome when it comes to biodiversity, not just biomass. We know what is biomass, right? If the number of organisms is very high, then we say the biomass is great. If the species is varied, we say there is great biodiversity. Clear? You will understand the difference between biomass and biodiversity, right? So wetlands are fantastic examples of both, where there is great biomass and great biodiversity of both flora and fauna, okay, right? So we say that it's a biodiverse and dense habitat. So this is also a very important point, right? Biodiverse and it's a dense habitat. Within a very small area, it is very densely populated. The biomass is packed into a very small area. Biodiversity is great within a very small area, right? That is one of the major purposes why we should be saving wetlands, right? Now, wetlands also act as water purifiers for nature, okay? So let's say there's a lot of impurities or pollution that has happened. There are a lot of water algae and other such kind of plants that grow in wetlands. So these are all beautiful biofilters that nature has provided us. So they will filter water and they will start releasing fresh water, fresh and pure water. Not that the fresh and pure water will be directly potable. I mean, you can't directly drink it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but it's still filtering it out. Okay, it's still filtering it out. They are nature's filters. So why is it important? It's not just humans. No, it's not just humans. In polluted water, what happens to fishes, turtles, crabs, and all the other fauna inside that system? Everything will suffer. But when you have biofilters like these, the water is getting purified. That means the flora and fauna are going to flourish. Okay, so wetlands directly filter and purify water. It's not just that. look at it from an atmospheric point of view, right? Let's take a huge place like Loktak Lake. I mean, in Manipur, Loktak Lake is in Manipur. It's a huge area, right? It's bigger than the city of Imphal. It's that big. When you look at the Loktak Lake, it influences the microclimate of the region. The Loktak Lake itself influences the microclimate of the region. How much rainfall is there, precipitation is there, right? What is the temperature, what is the albedo, everything is taken care of by this huge presence. Similarly, the local hydrological cycle means water comes as rain, then gets evaporated, goes up, forms clouds, clouds become heavy, rain droplets come down. This hydrological cycle is very important for maintaining the weather and climatic influences in that region. Okay, so even from a hydrological point of view, wetlands are critical. That is true for any biome, right? That is true for any biome. Today you have tropical rainforests and you start cutting down trees. What is going to happen? The temperature is going to rise, right? The rainfall is going to drop. Are we not seeing this within the Bangalore city itself? Earlier, if you had to go from Bangalore to Mysore Road used to have trees on both sides. And rarely you would see sunlight drop on the road. It was like that. Now they have cleared all trees. Correct. Obviously, it is going to affect what is the temperature on these roads, and it's going to affect how much dust is going to come, right? All these roads are so dusty. Why is it dusty? Because the trees that was holding the soil to the ground have been removed now. So the soil is free to move as it wants and the wind is eroding it, right? So one thing leads to another. But let's come back to this. So any biome, like a tropical rainforest, a wetland, a desert, they're all important for the local climatic conditions or local weather actually. So it is important for the hydrological cycle. Now, in many cases, wetlands are positioned in such a way that they may be at the mouth of at the very end of a river, right? They may be at the very end of a river, or they may form a lake at the bottom of a mountain. So these are the places where, or at the end of a glacier, it could be there. So these are the places where wetlands could be formed. So in such cases, what happens is wetlands are a beautiful barrier to flooding. If there is some kind of a flood, the wetland will mitigate it because it is going to absorb some of the water. It is going to absorb some of the force. The water is still going to spill out, but it's going to reduce the intensity of the flooding because it's absorbing something. So they are natural barriers to flooding. Very important point, huh? Natural barriers to flooding. So they mitigate floods, okay? They mitigate floods. They may not be able to prevent it completely. We say they prevent floods, but they may not be able to prevent it completely, but they will still mitigate the floods, okay? Now, anything that we do for conservation or protection, humans need to have an angle to it. We always look at our advantages due to that. So, like we have been saying, these regions are very biodiverse. So, a lot of variety of fauna is available, like fishes, crabs, prawns, so on and so forth. Wetlands are also used by local communities for fishing, okay? And because the biomass is so dense, you can find lots of fishes and crabs in a very small area, okay? So it supports fisheries. All of us love to go and camp in the nature, correct? No. Now we may like to camp in a 5-star hotel next to nature, but we don't want to be in nature, correct? Nature is very uncomfortable. The weather is very uncomfortable. You have to sit on stones. Stones are hard. Nobody wants that these days. So you want to be near nature, but still away from it. That's how everybody likes it these days. So if they have to go near nature, these are beautiful places. Why? Just imagine Chilika Lake in Odisha. I don't know if you have seen Chilika Lake. Okay, let's see Chilika Lake now. 1 second. I want to show you Chilika Lake. Oh, it's not done now. Okay, let's look at Chilika Lake for a moment. Okay, can you see the location of Chilika Lake now? Can you see the location of Chilika Lake? Where is it? Odisha. Which coast is it in? West or east? Eastern coast of India. Good. Okay. Can you see the places near it? Which is the two most famous places here that you can? Puri. Why is Puri famous? Jagannath temple. Very important cultural place for Hindus. Correct? The Jagannath Puri. Do you know what the story of Jagannath is? You don't know. Okay, you can go and read once. It's a very interesting story. Okay. So another point that you should also note is this Western Ghats or Eastern Ghats? Okay. Is the lake inside Eastern Ghats? Yes or no? No. Okay. So a very important aspect of geography also we'll look at now, right? So on the western coast of the country, what do you have? We'll come back to Lake Chilika. I'll come to it. I mean, just 1 second, I'll come back. I just want to make 2 points, then I'll come. Okay? Okay. So, on the western part of India, you have what? Western Ghats. On the eastern part, you have Eastern Ghats. Where are they meeting? So we have covered this in the previous classes. It's meeting in Nilgiris, right? So it is something like this, it is coming here, and this is something like this, and it's coming here, and then here is where the Nilgiris comes. Correct? No? So that's Eastern Ghats, this is Western Ghats. What is here then? On both sides of the Ghats, you have plains. Remember that. On both sides. On the Western Ghats, after that you have coastal plains. Again on the Eastern Ghats, on the other side you have coastal plains. These coastal plains are very important because they are also very biodiverse. Okay. And most of the agriculture that you see is happening here only. Right? Here you have plantations, but the agriculture is happening here. Very, very fertile plains. Why are they fertile? Rain, huh? Just rain is making it fertile. How is the soil becoming fertile just due to rain? Sediments. Beautiful answer. What's happening? The rivers are flowing down into the sea, and the rivers are carrying sediments, and those sediments are breaking down, and that is coming and getting deposited where? It is getting deposited in the coastal plains. So plenty of water, beautiful sediments from the mountain, very, very fertile soil. That means you can have very good agriculture that you can do there. Okay. Give me one example here. That is a very beautiful place for agriculture in Andhra Pradesh. So from Andhra Pradesh now, tell me, which is the best rice producing area? Andhra Pradesh. Which is the best rice producing area? Machilipatnam. Nellore. You have not heard of Nellore. Nellore literally means what? Nellina Uru. That means the city of grains. Okay, Nellore. So Nellore, there are rich people. Like this is where Nellore comes. Very rich people. Okay. So anyways, I hope you understood that. So you have Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, on both sides you have coastal plains, very fertile regions, and then you are coming here. So let's come back to Chilika Lake in Odisha. Is the Chilika Lake a freshwater lake or a saltwater lake? Saltwater lake. How do you know? It is close to the sea. It looks like a backwater. So mostly it's a brackish wetland. Brackish means salty. Brackish means salty. You know, no? Brackish means salty. You should know that word. Brackish means salty. So mostly it's a salty wetland. So generally, whatever you find on the coasts, it is generally salty. This is a thumb rule. Okay. Anything that you find in the Coast, it is salty. Anything you find inland is generally fresh water. Anything you find in the mountains, definitely fresh water. Okay, no. So this is like a thumb rule that you can use. Logically, you can, in the exam, they ask which of the following lakes are freshwater lakes and which of the lakes are saltwater lakes. So you can start eliminating like this. Oh, this is a mountainous one, so it is freshwater. Mountainous, to make it saltwater, it's very difficult. How will you make it? Quite difficult. I mean, the stones have salt, it can become salty. There is, but chances are it is a freshwater because the glacier is probably feeding it. Correct, no? The glacier, or in case of rainforest, the soil is feeding it. Okay. Now, Lake Chilika. Why did we come here? What are these? Lake Chilika is famous for flamingos. You know why flamingos are pink? You know how they get their pink color? Correct. Yes, from their diet. Flamingos become pink due to their diet. Whatever they are eating makes them pink. So, if somebody wants to become very fair and pink, then you should follow the flamingo's diet. Okay? Right. So, flamingo is just one example. So, this is how, what is this? It's a crane. What kind of crane? I'll talk about all of this today. Today, most of the class is going to be like this only. Okay? So, this is how wetlands generally look. Okay? What are these? Even I am not able to see. It looks like some kind of crane. Okay. Anyways, we'll come back to that. But my point is this. See, the reason we opened this up, no? Yeah. Do you see the size of the lake? Do you see? I don't know if you're understanding the size of the lake. It's literally like 2 districts. The Chilika Lake is as big as 2 districts here. That is the size of the Chilika Lake. The same is true for Loktak lakes. So these are big ecosystems. Understood? Okay. So let's go back to what we were talking. Okay. So we're talking about tourism and creation. So when you have all these beautiful birds that are coming, these pink birds that you want to see, if you want to see cranes, we are talking about Rangantittu Birdlife Sanctuary. Why are you going there? For boating, and you want to see the beautiful birds. So tourism and recreation, and most importantly revenue for the government. Okay. So the same thing, use of wetlands, we can put it into 3 parts. One is biodiversity for nature. The second one is human benefits like fisheries, rice, right? Rice are all your paddy fields. Paddy fields are wetlands. Right. So many developing nations have been saying that paddy fields are contributing to climate change because they are releasing so much of greenhouse gases. So they are saying don't grow paddy because it's not sustainable. They are saying we'll give you GM foods that we have grown in labs, start using that. Can we do that? I mean, I will not do it, but yeah. So paddy fields are also wetlands. Okay. And what else? See, like I said, prevent in flood control, water purification, everything. And now climate change. We discussed carbon sinks yesterday. We discussed the concept of carbon sink yesterday. So what did we say about carbon sink? What is a carbon sink? Correct. A carbon sink is a reservoir which is artificial or natural, which is going to take carbon and store it through the process of carbon sequestration. Okay, carbon sequestration is the process, and carbon sink is the physical place where carbon is being stored. Okay, now, so carbon sinks, whenever you have carbon sinks, that means they can absorb carbon and keep excess carbon. Very important function of wetlands. Examples of global, we were just talking about India, right? We just spoke about which one? Chilika Lake. We'll talk about a lot of wetlands today, but these are some global wetlands that you need to know. This is the Donana National Park in Spain. Why is it famous? It's famous because it sees many migratory birds that come from Africa to Europe. That is the reason this is very famous. Again, it has a variety of plant and animal species. See, this point is very common. Okay, this variety of plant and animal species is common for all wetlands, all national parks. That you can take for granted. Okay, but major is migratory bird species between Europe and Africa. So it has a very interesting cat. It has a very interesting cat called Iberian lynx. I just want to show that to you. Have you seen an Iberian lynx? You know what a lynx is? Yes? Yeah. A lynx is a big cat. It's in between a cat and a tiger. Not tiger, leopard, sorry. So it's in between a cat and a leopard. So this is the Iberian lynx. So in Europe they have managed to, hunt down all the cats. They have nothing. Same is true in America also. The biggest cat that they have is which one? Mountain lion or puma. You would have heard of a brand, you would have heard, no? Puma. Mountain lion is the same thing. Mountain lion, puma, everything is the same. That is the biggest one that they have. So this is an Iberian lynx. It is characterized by its ears. Okay. So in Spain you will find this. Next, we'll also look at another one. So Sundarbans, right? So now, using our existing knowledge, what we have gained now, can you tell me whether Sundarbans is a freshwater wetland or a brine or halophytic wetland? Brackish water. Okay. So Sundarbans is brackish water. How do you know? Near to sea. So logic says that sea is coming and washing these things, and it is brackish in nature or saline in nature. Okay. So Sundarbans also have mangroves, one of the most diverse regions in the world. Very, very diverse, very, very dangerous. Okay. So it's very difficult to go into Sundarbans and come out alive. Mostly you will not come out alive unless you are with somebody who knows what to do there. Okay. So it is also said that the tigers of Sundarbans are most aggressive of all the Bengal tigers. Why? They can swim. All tigers can swim. Yeah, all tigers can do it actually. All tigers can swim. All tigers can climb trees. The major reason is it is said that the salt water irritates the tigers. The salt, they are adapted to it, okay? They are adapted to it. But the tigers are still irritated by the salt water. That's what they say. And you don't want to be near an irritated tiger. And the most man-animal conflicts between tiger and man happens where? Sundarbans. Why? Because the wetlands are beautiful areas where you can go and fish. Fantastic herbal medicines and plants, fruits, everything you'll get. So tribal people go, village people go. The tiger is waiting, the tiger eats them. Okay, so that's how, very diverse area. We'll talk about Sundarbans. In fact, I'll be showing everything to you. Then we have the Kakadu National Park in Australia. Like I said, we have beautiful wetlands and rivers there, and it is famous for crocodiles. Okay, Australia is another region in the world where it is biodiverse, where they managed to kill quite a few of the species. When they were driving out the natives, they managed to kill it. Okay, and India, when you come to India, we have something called the Kerala Dev Ghana National Park. Okay, here you see the Siberian crane. The Siberian crane is coming from Eurasia, Russia, Siberia. It is coming from there. Have you seen a Siberian crane? Do you know how it looks? Okay, I haven't seen. Wait, let me just see. Let's just see how a Siberian crane looks. Yeah, this is a Siberian crane. There are many different kinds of cranes, right? Siberian cranes are big actually, quite big. If you go to Rangantittu, you will see there are I mean, literally, you can see 8 different kinds of crane just if you look around like this. So this is how a Siberian crane looks. I mean, you have to see the markings, like the red beak, the red face, the white body, and underling, the plumage, and you have to see the legs, long legs, height, everything you should know. Otherwise, you'll never be able to identify a bird. Okay, that's why I'm trying to show you some images of all these things. Okay, so we're just coming to Ramsar sites in India, right? So right now, have you understood what is the Ramsar Convention? Yes. Have you understood what is a wetland? Do you understand why we need a wetland? Do you know why we have to preserve a wetland? Uses of wetlands? Yes. Okay. Okay. I think we have understood all that. Now we are going to come to Ramsar sites in India. There are how many sites in India? 42 Ramsar sites in India. There are more now? 75. I don't think so. Is it? Okay, let's just check that. Declared, or in $75 wetlands. Okay, I don't know why it is 42 in our notes. Okay, we'll just see this. Okay, but let's just look at it. We have high altitude wetlands in the Himalayas to freshwater lakes in central India and brackish water of coastal India. Okay, this is what we'll just look at 10 Ramsar sites today. I have just looked at 10 Ramsar sites for you guys. Where is this stuck? Howda? Yeah, we're just going to run through some of the important Ramsar sites today. The first one that we'll look at is Ashtamudi wetland in Kerala. The Ashtamudi wetland in Kerala is again where it's a coastal wetland. It is in Kerala. Okay, Ashtamudi is the backwaters. So the moment I say backwaters, is it a freshwater lake or a saltwater lake? Saltwater. The Ashtamudi is also a salt, and it's very, very dangerous. I don't know if you have gone and seen some of these wetlands. Wetlands are very, very dangerous environments, right? Let's say you fall. Chances of you drowning are very great even if you know swimming. Why? Algae and all your... Yeah, there is no space to swim also because the biomass is so dense. It will just pull you down. And there's a lot of water. It's not like it's a small space. I don't know. You can just look at Ashtamudi Lake. It's very, very huge. I can show you here. Ashtamudi Lake. Got it. This entire thing is the Ashtamudi Lake. Do you see the size of it? I mean, just understand the size of it. These are single cities. This is a city. Kollam. Kollam is a very, very, quite a decent sized city, right? Town. So just see the size of all of the wetlands that we are seeing today, right? So this is the Ashtamudi Lake. You can see some of the pictures. I want to show you some of the pictures here, just so you have an idea. So these are natural barriers. I want to show you some of the growth that is possible. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. These are backwaters, right? The backwaters are flooding the canals, and the canals get water. Okay. Yeah. This is what I was trying to tell you. It is not a small space. It's almost, you'll feel like it's a sea. These wetlands are so big, right? See, you can see, no, it looks like a sea. It's that big. These are not your Hebbal Lake or Sankey Tank. It's not that size. All of these lakes are bigger than cities. I hope you understand that. Huh? What is the reason I'm telling you all of these and showing you all of these? I want you to understand the scale. I want you to understand the scale of these wetlands and why we are trying to preserve it. If such a big wetland now disappears, what is the effect on the surrounding flora and fauna? What is the effect on the local communities that depend on this? It's going to impact everything. That is the reason that we have joined Ramsar Convention. Correct? No. The question as to why we have to go join it is this. So that our government is also committed to preserving these wetlands. That's all. So what is the flora and fauna? That is a mangroves. Okay. You've seen mangroves, right? Mangroves come out of, in fact, we'll be looking at mangroves when we talk about Sundarbans. Mangroves come out and then they prop themselves and then they go up, right? And then you have seagrass, water hyacinths. Do you know what are water hyacinths? Again, I'll show you water hyacinths just so, because hyacinths are there in all of the wetlands. Any wetland you go, any major wetland that you go to, you will find hyacinths. Yeah, these are hyacinths. Have you seen this? Hyacinths are very dangerous. Very dangerous. Why? Do they bite? No, they don't bite. But if there are water hyacinths and you try to get into water, you may not come out very easily because hyacinths are very, very dense. Hyacinths are very dense. See? Yeah, but lotus is okay. Lotus is at least okay, right? Because they have large surface area of leaves, all that is okay. This is so dense, you can't do anything, and it will start pulling you down. The water will start pulling you down. So if you see water hyacinths, don't go near it. As a rule, don't go near water hyacinths. Then we look at a lot of fauna like mollusks, short-nosed fruit bat, and pufferfish. Okay. So you can also Google all of these and see how they look. Huh? You should know, for example, what are some of the major flora fauna in very important wetlands. We are just looking at 10 important wetlands. These are a huge wetlands. You should know that, where will you find a fruit bat? Will you find it in Lake Chilika near Odisha? Maybe not. Ashtamudi, yes. Why? You can tell that also. Why? Huh? No, let's look at the geography. Why? Where is Ashtamudi wetland? Right next to the Western Ghats. Where do you find fruit bats? You find it in Western Ghats. Correct? No. Fruit bats are there everywhere, but most of the fruit bats, whatever you see, is found in Western Ghats only. So I think that's how you have to derive many of the things in examination also. You should be able to connect one thing to another. Only then you can answer all of this. Okay, Bhoj wetland in Madhya Pradesh. Again, lot of floating plants like water hyacinths, lotus and others. And fauna, you have various fish species and birds, the spot-billed duck. So I'll just show you the size of Bhoj wetland also. Again, one of the most favorite tourist spots in Madhya Pradesh. Because in Madhya Pradesh you don't have sea, no? You don't have sea again in Madhya Pradesh. So water bodies, either you have to go to a river or you have to go to something like a beautiful wetland. Okay. Okay. So you can also see what is Bhoj wetland nearest to. I think you should know such things, right? Like Ashtamudi is near is in Kerala, near Western Ghats, near to Kollam in Kerala. When we saw Lake Chilika, it is near to Eastern Ghats, by the coastal plains, near Puri. Correct. Similarly, when we look at Bhoj wetland, you say it is near Bhopal. Right. What is the capital of Madhya Pradesh? Bhopal. Right. So just look at the size again. It's at least half the size of Bhopal. You're able to make up, no? The wetland is nearly half the size of Bhopal. It's that big. They are not small ecosystems, huge ecosystems. Okay, Chilika we already spoke, and we said there are a lot of submerged and emergent plants like reeds and grasses. So see, this is what in fact Chilika Lake will look at it even more. When I was showing you Lake Chilika, did you see there were some dolphins flying in the air? Irrawaddy dolphins. What are Irrawaddy dolphins? Do you know what is Irrawaddy? Irrawaddy is a river. Correct. Yes, Irrawaddy is a river. So these are called Irrawaddy dolphins, right? And then you have flamingos, over 150 species of birds, 150 species of fish, over 50 species of birds that you can spot in the area. But everybody goes for flamingos. East Kolkata wetlands. Again, see, like I said, no, the local communities use the wetlands, and this is one of the major examples where you can cultivate paddy, you can cultivate vegetables, and these are very, very fertile lands wherever you can manage to have the soil, the water near the surface of the soil. Those are very, very fertile, and they have water 365 days a year. So you can grow crops that need a lot of water also. No problem. Correct, no? So one of the major is you can cultivate vegetables. This is East Kolkata wetlands. Now again, this is common. Many species of fish and migratory birds like open-billed stork. So you can see storks have a huge pouch in there. Everybody gets confused between a stork and a what? Stork and what? What do you get confused between? Stork and crane. Correct? No, I used to get confused between a stork and crane. So you can just see open-billed stork. And stork was also huge, okay? It's not that they are small. See, it looks exactly like a crane. Correct, no? But what is this difference? Can you spot the difference? Do you see the beak? The beak of a stork is huge at the snout. For a crane, it's smaller and it's pointed, more like a sword. Here, it's more like a blade, like a really large blade. So these differences you should know, right? So this is a stork. The other one that we saw is a Siberian crane. So again, this is in East Kolkata wetlands. Next, Harike Lake, Punjab. Have you heard of Harike Lake in Punjab before? Yes. How do you know? Harike wetlands question has come in prelims. Multiple times, not just once. So you should know Harike wetlands in Punjab. Okay. And water hyacinths, water ferns, smooth coated otters. You know what otters are? Have you seen otters are like water dogs? Literally like water dogs. Very playful. But otters also hunt in packs. Like dogs, no? Otters hunt in packs. And they take down prey larger than themselves. In some river water ecosystems, the otter becomes the principal predator or the top predator or the apex predator. Can you even imagine? I don't know. I just show you. I don't know if you've seen otter. Otters are not that big. Once again, otters, turtles and various other species. Otters are not very big. It's like a dog, that's all. Like a water dog. Right, this is an otter. You have seen otters, no, before? See, this is the size. You may think it's cute and everything, but imagine this being hunting in packs and being the top predator. in a particular area, very scary, right? And they break shells. They use their hands very well. They use their hands like how humans use their hands. They break open shells on stones and then they eat the food. Okay? So whenever you go to nature, be very careful. Okay, this is Harike. So also one thing that I want you to do is go and see, is Harike wetland a freshwater lake or a saltwater lake? What do you think it is? Fresh. Why? How can you reason? Because it is inland. Okay, it is nowhere near the coast. Okay, Kiola Devgana National Park. I think I've told this 10 times already. So you have grasslands there, woodland swamps, wetland areas. You have all these Siberian cranes, painted storks. Painted storks are very colorful creatures. Okay, again migratory birds, storks and cranes, and several species of eagles. Have you seen an eagle? The ones you see in Bangalore are not eagles. They are kites. Okay, but have you seen an eagle? You know how big an eagle looks? Just a golden eagle is this high. Huge creatures. If you see an eagle, you should be scared of it. Eagles are huge and they can carry you. Like most species of eagles can carry you. Like big eagles can carry you and you can take away. If you just go to YouTube and you start searching, just go search eagles carrying sheep. They come, they catch hold of sheep, they take it and fly away. Sheep, it will take and fly away. So eagles are that big. In Western Ghats you'll be able to see. Loktak Lake, I was just talking. What is Loktak Lake famous for? It's famous for Fumdis. Fumdis are floating islands in the lake in which people also live. People live in Fumdis. Okay, so floating lakes. There is local vegetation on this floating lake also. That's what it's famous for. Also lot of paddy fields. Okay, in and around that area, paddy fields are there in abundance. Manipur is a very important state, rice producing state. That is also a thing. So fauna Sangai deer is in fact represented along with the Loktak Lake. Anyway, anytime you say look at the Sangai deer, think of Loktak Lake, Manipur. Okay, many various species of migratory birds. The Sambar Lake in Rajasthan, again flamingos, pelicans. Flamingos, if you want to see, you can go to Run of Kutch also. You can go to Rajasthan also. You can go to Odisha also. But most people in India have never seen flamingos because we don't go here. What we plan to do, we plan to go to Europe. You go to Europe, you can see something. Right. So you have 75 Ramsar sites, over 500 wildlife sanctuaries, 106 national parks, 18 biosphere reserves, and you have to go see all of this. Once you finish seeing all of this, start going abroad. Not that going abroad is bad, but also see all of these things. Okay, so pelicans. Have you seen a pelican? How does a pelican look? It looks like a flying crane. It's smaller in size. Okay, several wanding birds, wading birds. Wading birds means goose, duck, they wade, no? This is called wading. So all this. Sundarban, by far the most diverse wetland. Not the most diverse, but by far the most interesting wetland for humans. It's spread across two countries, correct, no? India and Bangladesh. So Sundarbans is home to what we say as halophytes. What is a halophyte? No, mangroves are an example of halophytes, right? Halos means, what does halos mean? Halos means salt. Halos means salt. Phytos means, phytic or phytos is plant. So halophyte literally means salt plant. Understood? No, this is how you break up words. Halophyte literally means salt plant. So mangroves, where are they? Here they are salt plants in this case. One of the most famous mangrove tree is the Sundari tree. This has been asked long back. I mean, I think at least 15-20 years back, I don't know. But Sundari tree question has come. Where do you find the Sundari tree? Sundarban. Sundarban is named after what? Okay. Fauna, Bengal tiger, saltwater crocodiles and spotted deers. If you want to see hell, you should get stuck in Sundarban. Okay. Have you seen saltwater crocodile? Which are the biggest species of crocodiles, do you think, in the world? You know what are the biggest species of crocodiles in the world? Not even near. Not even near. You know how big saltwater crocodiles are? The crocodiles that you see in these zoos, no. They are all small crocodiles. Whatever you are seeing. You know where the largest saltwater crocodile, where largest crocodile in the world is from? No, not Sundarban. Yeah, straight away. Because we are studying Sundarban, it's Sundarban answer. Where is it? Andaman. Off the coast of Andaman and Nicobars. You have saltwater crocodiles that are so huge. I'll just show you the size of it, then you'll understand. Yeah, this is the size of it. 1 second. This is your largest crocodile in the world. Bigger than all your Nile. So much they talk about Nile crocodile, this crocodile. Nobody is talking about the crocodiles that you find in Andaman. Why? And crazily biodiverse regions. Andamans, we have already spoken about that yesterday. Andamans are very, very biodiverse and with a lot of endemic species. And we have not even looked at all the forests in Andaman till today. Okay. So this is the saltwater crocodile. You can just look at the size also. I think over 20 feet. See, 21 feet. When this from, let's see, from that wall till here, this is 20 feet. From there, if it starts, this is 20 feet. And that thing will come and try to eat you. And you have to run away. If you are running away, okay. If you are swimming away, you can't. And look at the weight. 1000 to 1500 kgs. Right? You know how much tigers weigh? 300-350 kgs maximum. That's all. Just 300. Imagine triple the size and, you know, right? They are like dinosaurs only. You know how long they have been around? You know how long crocodiles have been around for? Crocodiles and sharks have been around since around when dinosaurs are there. Hundreds of millions of years. Okay? Hundreds of millions of years. Okay. And spotted deer, obviously you know. You've all seen spotted deer. Somoriri. Have you heard of this? Is it a saltwater lake or a freshwater lake? Freshwater. How do you know? It's rare in the mountains. How will salt climb and go and sit inside it? Salt can't climb. So it's a freshwater lake. Okay. So majorly grasslands and few shrubs. But when you look at the fauna, one very interesting creature. The Tibetan wild ass. Ass means donkey. No. Wild donkey. So you may ask me, why is the donkey so interesting, sir? Donkey we have seen everywhere. Why is the Tibetan wild ass so interesting? Donkeys are not interesting. Well, donkeys are interesting. This is the last known population of wild donkeys in the world. The last known population of wild donkeys in the world. And this is not your normal Dhobigat donkey. Okay? These donkeys are huge. Right? These donkeys are huge. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Right? I'll show you 1 or 2 videos of these wild asses. They can run up to 70 kilometers per hour. You cannot even imagine how quick that is. 70 kilometers per hour they can run. And they run in groups. right? So very impressive creatures. Where do you find it? You find it in parts of Ladakh and then in Tibet. In Tibet, there's an even bigger population than what we have here. In Ladakh, we have a smaller size population. But this is the last free range and wild donkeys in the world. Okay? And they don't look like donkeys, by the way. They're huge. I want to show it to you once. In black neck crane, I'll show you. It almost looks like a mule, like half the size of a horse. See, almost looks like a mule. It's very big and very strong, very strong creatures. Like it can literally carry everything that you have in this room on its back. It's that strong, very strong creatures. So you should never go near the legs of any horse or any ass. One kick, you are dead, not injured. Always one kick, you are always dead. There is no surviving any wildlife kicking you. So this is Somoriri. You have Tibetan wild ass, the last known wild ass in the world. That is in the free range and endemic to this region. Also, very interestingly, if you go into the hills, not just in Somoriri, if you just start going into the hills, you start looking at snow leopards, right? You should go Google some of the videos of snow leopards on how they hunt. They vertically run down mountains, right? So if you have ever trekked, just to take 10 steps in snow is very hard. 10 steps in snow is very hard. They run down and run up. Literally vertically run down, and they can jump 20 feet, 2 floors. They can straight away jump and keep running. So very impressive. You should go see that also. Again, the Vembanad and Cole wetland in Kerala. Again, you have the usual mangroves, water hyacinths, paddy fields, etc. Again, you have otters, right? So rarely will you ever see an otter in India. I don't know if you've seen an otter in India. Have you seen an otter in zoos or anywhere? Very rarely you will see it. It's not easy to see at all. But in all of these wetlands, you can go see the otters. Prawns, everybody loves to eat prawns, so it's there. So this is about the Ramsar Convention and 10 Ramsar sites that are 11 Ramsar sites that are very important. There are other important wetlands, not that they aren't, but you can't cover 75 wetlands now. So we'll just cover 10 or 11. So next we'll start continuing with national parks. I want to talk about national parks because last time we didn't have the time, and I want to start talking about the diverse climatic band of India and the different kinds of national parks that you find in this. Because we have been discussing that India literally has equatorial type of climate to the tundra climate. Everything is there, and in all of these regions we have flora and fauna, and that is making India one of the mega biodiverse spots of India. Like I said, 2.4% geographical area of the world, 8% biodiversity. Okay, so we'll just look at some examples. You can answer quite a few questions in prelims. That's the hope. That's why we are covering this. So in the introductory classes, we had spoken so much about wildlife sanctuaries and national parks, which is the act that brought wildlife sanctuaries and national parks into India. Very good. Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. So these guys were there for the earlier classes, so they know. Okay. So Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 is giving sanction to national parks and wildlife sanctuaries in India. Apart from this, what else is the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 giving sanction to? Like wildlife sanctuaries and national parks, what else do you have? No, that's a convention. We discussed two important things, two reserves. Which one are they? Conservative reserves and community reserves. So there was a question in prelims, I think last year, about community reserves or conservative reserve. One of the two, that question had come up. Okay. So community reserves and conservative reserves are also from Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. That's why you need to know these acts very well. Okay, right. So national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, community reserves and conservative reserves, all of them are from Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. So let's just recap a little and then we will go forward, because we'll be talking only about national parks now. In national parks, what kind of activity is allowed? Is collecting minor forest produce allowed in a national park? No, but it is allowed in a wildlife sanctuary. Okay, parts of wildlife sanctuary. When it comes to a bioreserve, in the buffer and in the transition zone, minor forest produce is allowed. Settlements, are they allowed in national parks? No, settlements are not allowed. But are they allowed in wildlife sanctuaries? At the very end part of the wildlife sanctuary, not in the middle or in the core areas. At the very end, where the wildlife sanctuary is transitioning out, you may find small hamlets and villages. Correct? Okay. Is timber felling allowed in national parks? No. But in some parts of some wildlife sanctuaries, it may be allowed. Again, it is the prerogative of the state government there. Right? Forests are a prerogative of the state government, but there is some control of central as well, because IFOs are deputed from there. Right? There is some level of control, but it depends on the state government how much activity is allowed there, in which part of the wildlife sanctuary. But definitely inside a national park, no nonsense. Okay, right. So this is about wildlife. This is about national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. What about community reserves and conservative reserves? What are they? So conservative reserves or community reserves could be at the very end of national parks or wildlife sanctuaries or protected areas in general. So there is some transition zone. When we talk about biosphere reserves, we talk about the core area, the buffer area and the transition zone. So these community reserves and conservative reserves are generally in the transition area of such bioreserves, or it could be in the transition area of a wildlife sanctuary also. Understood? So when we talk about conservative reserve, the land that is owned is totally by the government. Okay, is that clear? But when we talk about a community reserve, it could be private land also, and it could be government land also. It could be a combination of the two, and together it is managed so that there is no harm that comes to the protected area, to the actual protected area, because we want some kind of a transition area, right? If let's say the national park is ending here and you have a big urban center here, that is not very good. It's not good either for the urban center, or it's not good for the protected center also, right? Because man-animal conflict could be there. There could be disturbances. We don't want all that, right? Okay. So I hope the concept of conservative reserve and community reserve is understood. Community reserve means private land plus government land. Conservative reserve means only government land, and this is generally in the transition area of a bioreserve or a protected area, so that the man-animal conflict is reduced. Okay. Now we'll just look at 10 or 11 national parks. Okay, and we'll combine it with a little geography, because you can't look at environment and geography differently. You have to combine it and study. What at the very tip, what is the lowermost tip of India? Kerala, wa? Rameshwaram, no. Where is it? Nicobar Islands. Okay, fine. I don't know who I showed it to, but I'll show you. You know. Okay, just guess how close is the Malaysian archipelago to India? How close is it? Literally 200 kilometers. You know, that close. You know, India and Malaysia, how far are they? If I say 200 kilometers, will you believe me? People will not generally believe, but it is true. I'll just show you. This is a very interesting thing, no? Did you know that India and Malaysia are so close? Okay, let's just look at Nicobar Islands. Huh? Okay. Ayo, where you go? I'm going to Madhya Pradesh. Huh? If I say Nicobar Islands. Okay, we'll do it here only. This is Indonesia. This is Indonesia. This is India. It's only this far. Okay. Now I'll start zooming out, you'll understand. This close, okay, and this is Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore. Where is the Malacca Strait? Huh? This is the Malacca Strait. You know what part of the shipping of the world goes through there? What part of shipping of the world? All of China's shipments have to go through Malacca Straits. You know that, no? It's as important as your Suez Canal. Anyways, let's get back. I'll come to that in a different class. Okay, we'll talk about Malacca Straits. Many different, I mean, Bandaral, everything very important. Okay, so from the very bottom of the mainland, if we start considering, no, or even from the Nicobar Islands, what kind of climate are we seeing? We see an equatorial type of climate, correct, no? We see an equatorial type of climate. You come a little up, what do you see? You start seeing a tropical climate, correct, no? Okay, if you go a little more up north, then what do you start seeing? Huh? Subtropical. Now let's go to altitude. Okay, so we're going to the mountainous region. Then what do you start experiencing? The tundra, the alpine and tundra. So when you look at India, we have from equatorial type of climate to tundra. The flora and fauna is vast. Apart from this, India also serves as a migratory checkpoint for all of these birds. Many birds that are coming from Africa, birds that are coming from Southeast Asia, birds that are coming from Eurasia, not just Russia, Eurasia. Eurasia is Europe plus the whole region. Birds migrate here. Okay, so it's a very important migration destination also. So now you can start imagining what is the biodiversity that we have. Multiple climatic regions, that means multiple types of vegetation. Multiple types of vegetation means multiple types of flora. Multiple types of flora gives rise to an opportunity for multiple types of fauna. Okay, and we have discussed how this is, right? We have discussed how the autotrophs lead to species like deer that feed on autotrophs, and then you go to the apex predator that is feeding on the mid-level. We have discussed all that already. Okay, now let's look at tropical wet climate in India. Where can you find tropical wet climate in India? At the very south, which is at the very south of India and has a lot of green cover. Which state? Kerala. Kerala has a lot of green cover. Why? Western Ghats, right? Which is South India's Western Ghats tallest peak? Anaimudi. Anaimudi is also in Kerala. Okay, that is the tallest peak. You should know such things. Okay, where is the second tallest peak? Karnataka. Doddabetta. Doddabetta is the second biggest peak. Where is Doddabetta? Ooty. Okay, So you should know such things. Which is the tallest peak in this area, biggest peak, what animals are there, everything you should know. Okay. So we are talking about diversity, and now we came to the Western Ghats in Kerala. That is where we are. And in Western Ghats, you have something called the Periyar National Park. There are two beautiful national parks there. One is the Silent Valley National Park, and the second one is the Periyar National Park. Have you heard of the Periyar River? Okay, where is it? Kerala only. There is another Periyar. Do you know who that is? Tamil Nadu. Very big politician. Right? Right. Correct. You know his name? E.V. Ramasamy Nayakar. Big political clout. Big political clout. Okay? The river is not named after him, just in case. Okay, so what part did we want? So which river flows near the Periyar National Park? Periyar River only. But then if I ask a question, is it flowing inside the Periyar National Park? No. Are you sure? Yes. Good. So these are the kind of questions they will ask you, right? This is the Periyar National Park. Border of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. You should know this, okay? Border of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. What are the places near this? Tekkadi boat landing. Tekkadi is where you have all these boat races. You have seen big boat races in Kerala, no? So Tekkadi is one of the places where you have all these boat races. Okay. So this is the region. Okay, this is the region of the Periyar National Park. Again, if you want to see pictures, I mean, what do you find in Western Ghats? The same things. You find elephants, tigers, leopards, everything. Beautiful places. I think North Indian students who are looking at these videos, no, they will understand, because they will not know a lot of places. Okay, so what do you see? What are the flora and fauna? I think we'll just come to that now. But one thing that you must understand is, when we look at the southernmost tip of India also, you can't call it a pure equatorial type of climate. Correct? No, because we are a little away from the equatorial type of climate. But Andaman and Nicobar, you can call that as equatorial type of climate. Okay? Because there is lot of sunshine, lot of rain, evergreen forests. Correct? So that is proper equatorial type. But when you come to the mainland, the vegetation that you see is not really equatorial type in nature. So there is mixed vegetation. Okay, there is always almost all of our forest national parks have mixed vegetation. Okay, so you will find evergreen forests. At the same time, you will find deciduous forests. Deciduous forests, you have two types. One is moist deciduous forests and dry deciduous forests. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, deciduous forests, you know what are the characteristics? Give me one. Huh? Okay, trees shed their leaves. Any other point? Huh? That will come to. Correct. There could be partial rainfall during the year. Okay, no? There is partial rainfall. It's not raining all the time. So depending on the amount of rainfall, we classify it into moist deciduous and dry deciduous. Now, when we look at national parks like Periyar National Parks, these are situated on and by the Western Ghats. Correct? No, the Western Ghats are included in these national parks, just so you understand. Okay, no? So these are moist deciduous, very close to the equator. As you keep coming up, right, and you start coming inland, then you will start finding dry deciduous forests. Deciduous forest trees or deciduous trees have broad leaves. Okay, this is one of the characteristic features, that they have broad leaves. Okay, so when we look at Periyar National Park, you see evergreen and moist deciduous forests with species like teak, rosewood and sandalwood. Teak, rosewood and sandalwood is found all across the Western Ghats, everywhere. Teak. In fact, Dandeli, we have been talking about from first class. So Dandeli has rosewood, beautiful rosewood. What was there? Eco-sensitive zone. Again, yeah, Dandeli is again. So rosewood, even if you just walk on the street, you can see rosewood. It's so, rosewood is very rich actually, right? So rosewood, teak, sandalwood also. Sandalwood you can grow now in India, just so you know. Earlier there was a ban on growing sandalwood, but now you can grow. Fauna, obviously, across the entire region, you have elephants, you have tigers, you have leopards. In so many regions, you also have black leopards, like Nagarhole National Park in Karnataka, what you also call Kabini, right? You have black panthers. Black panthers are there in Anshi National Park. Very, very dangerous. I mean, you cannot even make out. During day, forget night. Night, there is no chance. I mean, even if it's sitting next to you, you will not know. Even during day, you can't make out whether there is a black panther or not. Eyes will not shine. That is all in movies. That's all. If you put torch, it will shine back. That's all in movies. Even if it is sitting next to you, you cannot make out. Black panthers are like shadow. Literally like shadow. Nothing you can make out. So, again, elephants, tigers, lion-tailed macaques. What are macaques? Monkeys. Macaques are monkeys. What are macaws? Parrot-like birds. Okay? So don't get confused. These are macaques. Macaques are monkeys. Why are they called lion-faced? It doesn't look like lion. It's just it's a little yellow in the face, right? With all the hair, it's a little yellow. That's all. It doesn't look like a lion. No, it does look. I'm just kidding. It looks like a lion. Yeah. Okay, just look at it. Is it lion-tailed or lion-faced? So the tail should be like a lion, no? Then why is the face like a lion? Face is also like lion. Then you should be named lion-faced macaque, no? Yeah. Tail is like a monkey, like a lion, huh? So this was there in some movie, no? Which movie was this there in? That only, that Simba movie. Yeah, that is a baboon. But just so you don't get that wasn't the lion-tailed macaque. That's a baboon. So these are lion-tailed macaques. So it is because of, not of their face, because of their tail. The tail is exactly like that of a lion. In fact, the tail is exactly like that of a lioness. If you look at a lioness's tail and if you look at this macaque's tail, it is exactly similar. Okay, that's why it's called a lion-tailed macaque. Other monkeys have this round, long tail, and this is, and I don't know if you have seen langurs. Have you seen langurs? Okay, I'll just show you a langur also, so you don't mistake a langur and a lion-tailed macaque. They all look the same. This is langur, smaller face. Okay, tail is longer. See, tail is so long. Okay, so this is a langur. A lion-tailed macaque will have all this face that's going out, and in this also it will have, but it's smaller. Langur is smaller. Where are langurs found in India? Langurs are found everywhere. That's the answer. Okay, in almost any national forest that you go, you will find langurs. Almost, like everywhere you will find langurs. But you will not find lion-tailed macaques. Very endemic to these areas. See, Nilgiri langurs, I told you, no, langurs you will find everywhere, there is no problem. And one of the most, and when you talk about Nilgiris, you also have to always remember Nilgai. Okay? A Nilgai, is it a cow? No, what is it? It's an antelope. A Nilgai is an antelope. Okay? Over 260 species of birds. So this is going to be common for almost everything that is there in the Western Ghats. Okay? This makeup of flora and fauna is going to be quite common. Not exactly the same, but quite common. Understood, no? So this is an example for tropical wet climate. Tropical wet climate. Why do we call it tropical wet climate? It can be evergreen forests, or it can be moist deciduous forests with a lot of rainfall, and you have a tropical equatorial type of temperature. Okay, it's close to the equator and also close to the tropics, somewhere in between, right, around 10 to 12 degrees of the equator, because the tropics start from 23 degrees, correct? So this is around 10 degrees. So these are tropical wet climates. Just another example, just so you understand. Silent Valley National Park. What else is the Silent Valley famous for? Google and tell me if you don't know. Tell me. What else is it famous for? Huh? No, that's not what is famous for. Just Google and tell me what else is the Silent Valley famous for? It is to do with your GS3. So, quick. Google, Silent Valley, what else is it famous for? Movement, right? There was an ecological movement. It became a very big problem. They wanted to develop that region, and they said, no, the Silent Valley National Park is there is no way we are going to let you in. And also the local communities protested, and then it got stopped. You need to know about that. You know why you need to know about that? Because it's an environmental protest, like how you have this Chipko movement and so on. No, the Silent Valley ecological movement is also very important. Almost 1970s, I think, if I'm not wrong, almost 1970s. That time only they had done this ecological movement. So one of the first environmental movements that you saw in India. So you definitely need to know it. Okay, so this is the Silent Valley National Park. Okay, so like the name suggests, it's a valley. It's a valley. Okay, so it is nestled in the Western Ghats and in a valley. You know what is a valley? No, what is a valley? Valley is the V shape between the hills. Okay, no, if there are two hills like this, the in between V shape is the valley. You understood? No, that's a valley. So this is in a valley. Again, very biodiverse region, and completely within the state of Kerala. So what I also want you to observe here is there are three different things, or literally 5 different things I can tell you here in this picture. Okay, let's start looking at it. One is the Silent Valley National Park. What is a national park? Protected area. We also have something called Attapadi Reserve Forest. What is a reserve forest? Protected area. We have new Amarambalam Wildlife Sanctuary. One more protected area, but all different kinds of protected areas. A reserve forest is different, right? Forest officers go in, come back, no developmental activities allowed. Here, national park, nobody goes in. Wildlife sanctuary, maybe a little activity. Then you have another national park. Then you have MM Tiger Reserve. Mudumalai Hills, you have all have heard. Continues from Bandipur, right? If you go up, no, you'll just get Bandipur here. And if you go to the left, you will get Nagarhole. Right? All of them are one single area. Nilgiris, you have to go that side. Nilgiris, you have to take a left and you have to. This Masingudi is there, no? This is only Nilgiris. Masingudi is near Ooty. Understood, no? So all of them are connected. That's what I am trying to tell you. Silent Valley is quite famous. Now, why have I chosen this? Why have I chosen to talk about this? Because it's a valley, right? That means there are a lot of grasslands. Grasslands also means there are a lot of ferns and smaller sized herbs, plants and plants of medicinal value. Okay, Silent Valley National Park is actually very famous for it. Also for orchids and many endemic plant species. One very important point also. I don't know, just fact, not a point. So, how many of you know the Bangalore University here? You have gone to Bangalore University here, huh? Okay. They have very huge green area, no? Inside Bangalore University and out in the open is just, but there is one fence. And on the other side of the fence, I don't know if you have read this board, there is something called the Western Ghats Gene Bank. Have you seen? When you enter Bangalore University only, on the left hand side you have the Western Ghats Gene Bank. So they have got so many plants from the Western Ghats, they have planted here for research purposes. They are taking care, so if something happens there, they can pick from here, go put it there. So there is a gene bank here. Literally 2 to 3 kilometers from where they are standing now, there is a Western Ghats Gene Bank. Okay? Yeah. So again, very endemic plant species. In fact, we started talking about what is a hotspot, right? When we were talking yesterday, we were talking about what is a hotspot and what are the conditions that must be satisfied for a region to be named a hotspot. What were the conditions? One, it should be highly biodiverse. Second, there must be a lot of endemic species. That is one of the conditions for an area to be named a hotspot. Correct, no? So you can see this, a lot of endemic plant species. So this is one of the reasons that the whole of Western Ghats is a hotspot. And also, like we discussed yesterday, no, frogs and other small amphibians and insects we keep getting like yearly, even today. Again, you're talking about lion-tailed macaques because it's the same region. Okay, it's the same region. It will be the same. Malabar giant squirrel, that is found there also. Then Nilgiri tar. You know what is a tar? Tar is a goat. Yes, and various bird species. Okay, so you understood. This is also the same tropical wet climate. Okay, so why am I discussing this now? That is a question that you must ask me. Okay, I am discussing this now to show you biodiversity. Not just talk about national park or environment or geography. I am talking to you about this to show you the biodiversity also along with the climatic conditions. Biodiversity, always focus on that here. Okay, now Ranthambore National Park, very famous, right? All foreigners go where? They go to Ranthambore National Park in Rajasthan. If you see all your old David Attenborough videos on Discovery or National Geographic, he would probably be in Ranthambore, correct? So, and Ranthambore was a very famous hunting ground. They used to kill tigers in hundreds there, okay, just hunting. All these Maharajas, Britishers and all of that. So, a very famous hunting ground. Now it is not allowed. But some people still go and hunt. That's a different story. Okay. Now, we have come up so north now from Kerala. From Kerala, we have crossed the Tropic of Cancer, and we have crossed and gone into almost 7-8 degrees further. We have gone, and we have come to almost into the desert ecosystem and adjacent to it. Right now, we are adjacent to the desert ecosystem. So, we have finished looking at two types of climates here, right? We have looked at equatorial and subtropical climates. We have looked at tropical climates. We have looked at different kinds of flora and fauna there. Now I want to also look at subtropical climate. The other one that we looked at was dry, but here we are looking subtropical climate north of the Tropic of Cancer, and that is Assam, Kaziranga National Park, which is just off the Himalayas. Okay, just off the Himalayas. Again, these are flatlands. Do you know the exact location of Kaziranga? Kaziranga is famous for rhinoceros, right? Yeah. What? One-horned rhinoceros. Do you see the wetlands in the photos? Do you see the wetlands in the photos? This is a wetland, right? So you can see the elephant is walking through the... How does the elephant walk through a wetland when it is so heavy? Why is it not sinking into the side so easily? It has a hole? No, the area, surface area of the leg is so high. That is the reason it is able to walk. The leg is there, no? The foot surface area is very high. Because the surface area is high, it can walk even on wetter lands. Otherwise, for its weight, if the weight is focused on smaller sized hooves, it will sink. Okay, that is the reason it is able to walk. Anyways, this is the Kaziranga National Park. I think literally 20-25 kilometers. That's all from Himalayas. 30 kilometers maybe, not more. 30 kilometers from the Himalayas. Sorry, Brahmaputra, not Himalayas. That is the Brahmaputra. My fault. Brahmaputra, not Himalayas. Literally 30 kilometers from Brahmaputra, you have the Kaziranga National Park. You know how many of you have seen the Brahmaputra? The Brahmaputra looks like an ocean. You have seen the Brahmaputra? The Brahmaputra looks like an ocean. It doesn't look like a river. The first time I saw Brahmaputra, I got scared. There are riverine islands in Brahmaputra, right? Which is the largest riverine island in India? Machili Island. You know another riverine island in South India in Kaveri? Very famous. Very famous. Srirangam. Srirangam next to Trichy is a riverine island. Very few people know it. But it's an island only. Kaveri splits into two parts and joins after Srirangam. Okay. Anyways, let's just come back to Kaziranga National Park. Okay. So you can just look at this region. Here you have tundra. This is the Himalayas. Here you have subtropical forests. These are also moist forests. Lot of rainfall. Okay. And everywhere it is like this only. Wetlands. And you will also see one more feature of Kaziranga National Park, that these are plains. Largely plains. So you will find a lot of grasslands. See, all of these are grasslands only. And you will see some deciduous forests. These are all deciduous forests. Some deciduous forests splattered around. Okay. One-horned rhino. Protected. Okay. Have you seen a rhinoceros and elephant fighting? You should Google it. It's very fun to watch. Yeah. Don't see people fighting. Watch animals fighting. It's a lot more fun. But yeah. And the rhinoceros stands no chance, in case you are wondering. Okay. So, grassland. See, like I said, no, we saw the pictures. What did we see in the pictures? What was it? I explained a wetland, I explained a grassland. Wetland, grassland, tropical forest. I explained all the three, I showed all the three in the photos. That's all you need to do. That will all be there in the notes also. And again, what kind of climate we have? Subtropical climate. Fauna. What did we see in the pictures? One-horned rhinoceros. Tigers. Elephants. If you just go and Google, no, one of the most famous videos on YouTube is a tiger jumping on top of an elephant and attacking a man. Have you seen this YouTube video? Okay, just say tiger attacking elephant man. If you just Google, no, you'll see. If you want to be scared of a tiger, watch that video. An elephant is huge. I don't know if you have gone, if you ever seen an elephant? Really huge, no? The man is sitting on top of the elephant. The tiger will jump on top and attack the man. Just literally 3 steps it will take from one of these paddy fields kind of places, wetlands. 3 steps it will take, it will jump and attack him. So it is that. So don't go on these elephant safaris and all if people tell you, because they are very dangerous. Anytime anything will attack you. One-horned rhinoceros, elephants, tigers, wild water buffaloes. Water buffaloes are also very dangerous. Very, very fast, huge. Water buffaloes also have a very bad temper. And several, see, wherever there are wetlands, no, there will be lots of birds. Why? Can you just guess? Fishes, insects, because there are wetlands have so many plants and everything, lots and lots of insects. So definitely because of these fishes, insects, lot of biomass, plants, everything, you'll have lots of birds that come in always. Again, Manas National Park is also in Assam. Similar, huh? Which one? Manas National Park, yeah. But also a national park. Biosphere reserves are huge areas. We have discussed this. No, inside a biosphere reserve, there could be a national park, there could be a wildlife sanctuary, there could be a community reserve, and there could be a conservative reserve. How? In the core area, you have a national park. In the buffer zone, it could become a wildlife sanctuary. In the transition zone, it could become a community reserve or a conservative reserve. Correct? Understood? No? That's how it will work. So similar, see, deciduous forests, riverine grassland, and semi-evergreen forests. Tigers, pygmy hawks, golden langurs. Go Google how golden langurs look. Okay, just the color of the coat changes. Clouded leopards. You know what clouded leopards are? Clouded leopards are something in between a jaguar and a leopard, and your normal leopard. Okay. This is a clouded leopard. Have you seen a jaguar? The prints on a jaguar are very different compared to a leopard, right? So if you take the prints on a leopard and if you take the prints on a jaguar and you combine it, you are going to get clouded leopard, and it's slightly smaller in size compared to a normal leopard, okay? But still very, very dangerous. So it's famous for clouded leopards, various breeds, pygmy hogs. Hogs means, you know, no? Wild pigs. They are very, I mean, pygmy hogs are okay, but never go near a wild pig. Boars are very dangerous. This is now we are going into alpine vegetation. Alpine vegetation means we go into the Himalayas. We go literally into the Himalayas, and we are talking about Ladakh now. Right? So Hemis National Park is in Ladakh. Do you know that Hemis National Park is huge, right? It's like a city in itself, that big, huge. No vehicles are allowed inside Hemis National Park. No vehicles are allowed, but you can go visit Hemis National Park. You know how you have to explore Hemis National Park? Only by foot. If you want to go and experience Hemis National Park, you have to be able to walk at least 30 kilometers a day in that altitude. At least 30 kilometers a day. In that altitude, you should be able to. Otherwise, you cannot go into Hemis National Park. Hemis National Park, you can see snow leopards. That's why they go. It's called the grey ghost because you cannot see it coming. So, alpine vegetation including juniper, birch, and fir. So, whenever talking alpine vegetation, consider their growth straight like this. They are not spread out. Okay, they are not spread out. Deciduous, it means well spread out and large. Whenever you're talking alpine and tundra, you just imagine something that goes straight into the air, right? Pine, fir, conifers, juniper, birch, all of this. See, snow leopards, Tibetan wolves. Tibetan wolves are also quite big. And one more thing that you have to understand about biodiversity is, near the equator, everything is small. The size of the fauna is smaller. As you go north, the fauna size becomes bigger. Understood, no? For example, if you see a wolf that is there down south in India, it will be smaller in size. You look at a Himalayan wolf, it will be bigger. A Bengal tiger is smaller. A Siberian tiger is bigger, a lot bigger, right? So as you go north, the size of the fauna increases. So if Tibetan wolves, red fox, Himalayan griffons, okay? What is a griffon? Okay, I think that should be your homework. We will wrap up the class soon. So Himalayan griffons, okay? Again, Uttarakhand, you have tropical dry climates, even though it's right next to a mountain, right? Uttarakhand is a mountainous region. So there are many different national parks like this that you can see. And the last one I want to talk about is Desert National Park in Rajasthan. We have discussed this in the previous class, that deserts are also ecosystems that have a lot of fauna, right? Wild salamanders, lizards, snakes, very beetles, lot of beetles, cacti, small, this one, oh, lots and lots of fauna hidden. It's not visible, everything is hidden. So the Desert National Park in Rajasthan also has a different variety of flora and fauna, lot of endemic species. So it's also a very important national park. Like the Great Indian Bustard is the Chinkara. What is a Chinkara? Kind of deer, okay? Chinkara, desert fox, Bengal fox. So now you can understand that the size of a fox in a desert will be a lot smaller as compared to something that is not. Why? Because it has to conserve energy. The bigger an animal is, the more food it needs. But in a desert, food is scarce. So it will start getting smaller and smaller, right? There are some species of kangaroo rats that don't need to drink one drop of water through their entire life. Okay? Can you even imagine this? Have you heard of anything like this? That a species of a rat, or a kangaroo rat actually, it does not drink one drop of water, or it does not need one drop of water throughout its existence, right? Such beautiful creatures exist, right? Kangaroo rats are mainly found in Australia, but beautiful creatures. That is why you have to know about all these biodiverse creatures. So we're just summing this up, that's all. I think we have sort of summarized today, right? If you have any doubts, you can talk to me.